the thing that is just so moving to me about the canonical and everything that you write about in your cover story, and then what we've talked about here, is that at this time where Francis could have felt very discouraged and isolated, everything was still relational to him. Like that. There's something so crazy to me about that.
I think it's so beautiful. I can remember a woman that I served in hospice who, whenever I would show up, she asked me to wheel her outside and we would just sit in a garden. We didn't talk, we just sat and we felt the wind on our cheeks and listened to the birds and smelled the pine trees. It, there is a settling in to being present that I think is a skill, actually. It is something that needs to be practiced in order to experience it fully. Um, I think we don't honor stillness enough in our culture.
Talk about an invitation. I mean that's it. I mean the canonical in a lot of ways it goes back to Francis's own spiritual posture of stillness, I think.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, I mean, that's a part of Francis's life that we often don't talk about enough about his experiences in hermitages, his experiences of solitude, because we don't know, right? He didn't write out what he was doing, and we just know that he sequestered himself. He would be apart from the other friars. He might eat with them, or he might eat apart from them. But what happens in solitude? We have to speculate, but that is where the depth of this kind of presence can get cultivated. Not necessarily, but I think it did with Francis. Um, and I think in our Franciscan world, among all of us practitioners, we tend to emphasize the doing, doing, doing rather than the stillness and the contemplative side of this practice. And I think it would be wise to remember that Franciscan practice or doing is based in stillness. It's based in contemplative prayer. He lived in contemplation longer each year than in actual active ministry. So when he went to Rome and was serving with Lady Jacoba in the hospice in Trastevere, it was after weeks and months of contemplation.
Yeah, and stillness and contemplation is such a challenge in our culture, at least for me, because it's in that stillness that for me I'm kind of giving myself permission to not cling, to to not jump to the next thing, to not root. This is what it is: to not root my own identity in my own doing, and instead just to be, and for that to be enough.
Yeah, I have two things to say to that. First of all, I see this, we see this, people heading into retirement age, how hard it is to let go of work. And we see this among lay people, we see this among vowed religious, when self-identity is based on what they've been doing, when the invitation is there to retire from the doing, many people are at a loss of their self-identity. So there's so much there to reflect on and to work with. But self-awareness of the struggle is the first step. The other thing that what you just said brought to my mind is, I'm just going to tell you a short story from my youth. As a very young girl, like 4 years old, I would go into a closet and sit. I'd close the door and there'd be a little crack. And I still remember what it looked like. I could see little particles of dust with the light coming through. And I just found so much peace there. It was no one else in my family did that. and my parents were very concerned, very worried about me because I would go to the closet. And apparently, I guess one time I fell asleep, and so my mom was frantic and started calling all the neighbors because she thought I was lost. But my point of saying all of those is that this can be instinctual for some people, but it's countercultural, and people are concerned about people who like to be alone, and it gets trained out of us.